Hey guys, welcome back to Bows and Boards Laser Engraving. I'm Ron. Today we're going to go through step by step the process of photo engraving on ceramic tile. I do it several different ways, but the easiest way for me to do it and the easiest way for me to show you how to do it is through a process called scripts. And with this, what the scripts are is a set of processes that make the engraving easier and make the photo renditioning much easier for you to manipulate. You're going to need the way that I do it. You're going to need several different things. You're going to need the scripts, which I will post a link in the description below on where to get them. You're going to need GIMP, and you're going to need. I use 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 inch ceramic white tile. You can get those on Lowe's.com or HomeDepot.com, and they're about $30 a case for a case of 100, so it's not really a bad deal. The scripts are about $30 a piece, but there are several different types for several different software. Today we'll be using it on GIMP. We'll be using the big GIMP the script, and I also use a compound lens combination. It's the kit comes from cloudraylasers.com, and you get with the kit you get the nozzle, the tube, and 2 lenses. Each lens is a different focal length, and that's what I use to do my photos. It makes it much easier. You can get away with it up to a 2.5 inch lens, but it's real hard to do that. Your higher powered lasers you're going to have a little trouble with, because it's like shooting a squirrel with a bazooka. You're going to break that squirrel up in half trying to kill it when you only needed a BB gun, something as small as a BB gun to do that. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, the first step in the process is to prepare your tile. So what we're going to do today, right now, is we're going to prepare this 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 inch tile get it prepared for paint. The first thing you want to do is grab your tile and a rag and some denatured alcohol. I put mine in a spray bottle so it's easier to spray the tile down or to get the tile wet. So what we're going to do is we're going to spray the tile just a little bit and wipe it down. And you want to make sure that the tile is completely dry, and don't get your fingerprints on it, because it could keep the paint from sticking to your tile. When you get ready to paint the tile, you're going to want to paint it in an area that's well ventilated, for obvious reasons, the fumes. For me, I've made a downdraft table to suck all the fumes out of the room and into the outside. Okay, this is my downdraft table. This is where I spray my tile at. Again, it exhausts to the outside, so there's no fumes that get in here. It's got a layer of HEPA filter in the bottom of it so that the fumes don't ignite, don't get into the blower motor and ignite. So all of you guys that would say that, well, it's just going to catch fire, it doesn't do that. I've never had a problem with that with the filters in. So the filters are in there to help to exhaust to the outside without causing any damage. And the paint that I use is Krylon Fusion All-in-One Paint and Primer. I use matte black. So what we're going to do now is, whenever you spray your tile, you're going to want to go from outside the tile edge to outside the tile edge. And you're going to want to keep it just as nice and as even coat as possible. Don't stop on the tile for any reason. And you're just going to spray all the way down the tile. And you're going to let that dry. We're going to close the lid here and let that tile dry. It dries real quick, so it takes about 15 minutes maybe to get completely dry. And we'll come back to a dry tile ready to engrave. Okay, we've got the tile dry and ready to go. As you can see, it is an even coat on the tile. And what I like to do, it's not a necessary step in the process, but I like to bake my tile. I'll bake it in this little oven for 20 minutes. Set the oven on 250 degrees. You'll put your tile in there, close the lid, set it for 250 degrees, at 20 minutes. And then whenever the tile is done baking, you'll let it cool off completely, and then it's ready to go. So, okay, folks, we're here in front of the computer. As you see right now, I've got GIMP.org pulled up. This is where you're going to go to download the latest GIMP release. It is free, it's open source, and they provide updates periodically to the program. So you're going to want to download GIMP. Then you want to go over and go to lightburnsoftware.com and download LightBurn. There's the download button. You'll download it. It is a paid program. You'll pay, I forgot how much it is, once a year you'll pay. And we'll just go over there and look and see for sure. All right, you've got a try before you buy option. So whenever you get ready to download it, download the trial version first, just so that you can get a with. Then we'll go over to buy LightBurn. Okay, this isn't showing the buy LightBurn or the option to buy LightBurn. But at any rate, you'll download LightBurn, the trial version, and just try and use it first. Okay, yeah, it's not going to show me what I want to see. Finally, you'll need to go to infinitelaser.us, and you're going to want to set up an account. Infinite Lasers is where you're going to download your script, and this is the script we're going to download, is the Big GIMP and plugin process for GIMP with version 3. It's $30, and there's several different means to pay for that, but at any rate, you're going to download this file. All right, and then we're going to head on over to our software. You're going to uninstall, or you're going to install GIMP, and when that gets finished installing, you're going to minimize it. And what you need to remember whenever you download the script, where it's located, because you're going to have to unzip it, and then it'll give you another file folder that it will go in by default. And just remember where that file folder is, because you're going to need it. Whenever you open that file folder after you have unzipped it, you're going to grab a hold of the py file. It's the gimp.py file. And then we're going to come back into GIMP, maximize the screen on GIMP. We're going to go to Edit. We're going to go to Preferences. And then another window will pop up here shortly. There it is. Go down here to Folders and click on the plus sign. Then you're going to scroll down to Plugins and double click on Plugins. All right, you'll get this window to pop up here. We're going to go with we have to go with the first one. Make sure it comes up here. And then we're going to open this little file selector folder. And as you can see, Plugins is already highlighted for you in this folder. You're going to double click there, and you're going to drop your script in here. It's the Big GIMP and script version 3.py. Click OK. Click OK again. And at this point, you're going to restart GIMP. So you're going to go over here in the corner and click on the X. You'll restart GIMP, let it load, and then whenever it comes back up, this time you'll see this little button right here, the Big GIMP button. And that's the script that we're going to use that you had bought to process the photos. All right, so we're going to go find a picture. We're going to go to File, Open. You're going to look over here and find the picture or the file folder that your picture that you downloaded is in. And by the way, you're going to want the highest quality photo that you can get. Facebook photos typically are dumbed down to like 72 dpi. You can use that, but it's not going to give you as clear a quality as a picture whenever you engrave it. So just keep that in mind. And you don't want to use pictures of pictures, like somebody taking a picture of a picture in the picture frame. You don't want to use those pictures because the rendering is awful. But anyway, you're going to go in here and you're going to find your picture. We're going to use girl 6. Where you at? There she is. Double click on it. And here she is. Now then, the tile, if you remember, my tile is 4¼ by 4¼ inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to guesstimate it. I'm going to start right about here. I'm going to drag it across and down to crop the photo. All right, and here's your crop button right here. You're going to have that selected in order to do this. But once I crop the photo, I am going to hit enter and it'll crop the photo. The next step is to go to image, scale image, and then this window will pop up. The first thing you don't change these numbers just yet. The first thing you want to do is change the resolution. And the resolution for tile you need to try and start at 600 because that's your optimal spot to start for engraving your tile. Now, that's being said, some of you have lasers that are higher than an 80-watt laser, and like I had said previously, you're going to have to change that a little bit. Higher wattage lasers is going to require you to go down in resolution. So typically with the higher wattage lasers, they usually use 600, but try it for yourself just to see. All right, once you get that highlighted, type in 600, and then click down here and it'll automatically change. Next thing you want to do is change this from pixels to inches. All right, we are almost right on the money with this, but we're going to go ahead and change this to 4.25 and click in this box. It's going to run just off the edge of the tile, which is good because I won't have the black line across the bottom. So we're going to, if you need to adjust it, if that doesn't work for you and you're trying to get it just spot on, you can click cancel, hit Control Z on your keyboard, and that'll take you back to where you had cropped it, or before you had cropped it. But in this, for the sake of this video, we're going to go ahead and click scale, and it's going to scale the image. All right, it's finished scaling. Then we're going to go up here and click on our new button, the big gimping. Then click on this one, and another box, a dialog box, will pop up that you need to work in. Bear with me. There it is. Okay, you'll see two options, two little bubble radio button options. All right, the first one is tile, the second one is wood. The main difference between the two is whether or not you're going to invert the image. It's going to process just exactly the same. It's just not going to, the wood image or the wood button isn't going to invert the image. But whenever you are engraving on a dark substrate, you're going to want the image inverted. And so we're gonna keep it on tile so that it will be inverted. Now that you'll see down here, the maximum width and maximum height, they're in millimeters. The best thing that I have found to do to get the millimeters quickly is go to Google and download, look for inches to millimeters conversion chart, and download that, and it'll give you your conversions. So with my 4¼ by 4¼ inch tile is 108. We're going to change both of these, and we're going to click OK. And it's going to start rendering the image. And there we are. You're going to notice that in the original picture, these areas right in here were dark. So whenever we inverted it, it changed them to white so that they don't engrave. And then your darks are going to engrave, and it's going to turn out pretty good. So this image is exactly the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to look like this. So all we're going to do now is we're going to save the file. But with GIMP, you don't go to save as because it saves it as a different file extension. and it doesn't give you the option to change that file extension. So we're going to go to Export As. This window here will pop up, and your name is at the top of the original image. You're going to want to rename that file so that you don't overwrite the original image. We're going to name it Tile 1. And as you can see, I've already got it up there from a previous video. So that's what we're going to name it, is Tile 1. Then we'll go down here to select by file type. And when we click on that plus sign that was by there, we're going to go down to JPG. You can also use BMP, which is down here at the bottom. But I have found that with the new LightBurn update, my new BMP files will not load. So I've had to go back to using the JPEG files. So we're going to click on that. We're going to click Export. It's asking me if I want to replace the one I already have. I'm going to go ahead and replace it. And then another window will pop up. All right, here's the other window. You're going to change the quality to 100 because you want the best quality photo that you can get. You're going to leave all this stuff over in here the same. You're not going to mess with that. And you're going to click Export. And your file has been exported to the location that you had specified for it to go in originally. Now the next thing we need to do is go to LightBurn. Make sure you've got LightBurn installed. Go to LightBurn. And the first thing I like to do is draw a square the size of my substrate. So there's my square. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this output on so you can see it better. But there's my square. We're going to change the width to 108. That's all in millimeters. So we're just going to use the same conversion that we had previously, 108. And then we're going to go over here and click on this arrow. And then click out. Click or select the square and hit P as in on the keyboard, as in Paul. P as in Paul. The next thing you want to do is bring in your photo. So we're going to go to File, Import, and we're going to go to your photo section, wherever it is that you had your photo, and we're going to import it. So for us, it was Girl 6 Tile 1. There she is. I'll click on that. It's going to bring it in. Hit P on your keyboard to make sure it's centered. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to turn this top one off because that's our square that we had made. We're going to disable that, and we're going to go into and double click on right here on the image. Now then, this is where you're going to do a lot of tweaking and fine tuning. Your speed and your maximum minimum power is really going to depend on several factors. One being your laser, your lenses that you're using, and the wattage of your laser that you have. For me, I've got an 80-watt laser. So what I did was my optimal speed for this photo is 200 millimeters a second, with a maximum power of 10 and a minimum power of 9.75. So that would be a good starting point for you guys to find the optimal spot for your laser to engrave the photo. So just start right there, and you can work up and back if you need to. Make sure that this negative image is not checked, because we've already made the image a negative, so we don't want to redo that. Go down here to pass through and make sure it's turned off. Change your DPI settings to 600 or whatever you've set your DPI settings on your photo. For us, it was 600, and click pass through on. And you're going to double check to make sure that everything is squared up, and it is. And over in this window is where you set where your laser tube is your nozzle is going to be. You can increase and decrease the distance that it runs. For this one here is going at 0.05, which is just a
barely a dot, and you can set the speed at which it moves that it does the frame. But I usually leave the speed alone. This is what I change the most, just to line up the laser head with the substrate. Then you'll just click select origin a few times and it'll stay. Then you're going to go back over to cut layers, and then once you get your substrate on your laser and into where you want it to go, you're going to click start, and then we're going to go over and play with the laser.
Okay, we've got about 10 seconds before this starts the process. It starts to engrave, and it should start any time now. It's going to start a little bit off the tile, but that's okay, because we know that the tile is going to be completely covered when we're done. But we'll watch until this gets started on the tile, and then we'll break away and I'll show you the final result. Okay, so here we have the finished item. This is the girl that we did earlier in the video. It turned out pretty good. There's a lot of room for improvement, but this is what you should end up with, if not better. If you look close, there's this little line that goes right here. This tile I can't use, I can't sell, I can't give it away because of that line. And what that line is a buffer line. What happens sometimes with your laser is that whenever you're engraving photos are a big file, and whenever it's engraving, sometimes it buffers. And what that means is that the laser image process is trying to catch up with the laser, with the controller, and so you get that line, and it renders the tile unusable, unsalvageable. So there's no way to get rid of that line, so you have to start all over with it. But just for the purposes of this video, we'll continue going on the way we're doing with this tile. What I like to do, if there's a lot of black left over, like say at the very bottom, if you don't have the image all the way off the tile, is first of all, if there's a black area, I like to put words down here that identify the tile, or just whatever you come up with. But what I'm trying to get at is you can take the tile, and put it in the oven for 10 minutes at 225, and then spray it with a clear coat once it dries, or once it cools off. And what putting it back in the oven will do is it'll cause that paint on the tile to get harder. And if you don't do that and you put a clear coat on it, chances are very good that you're going to cause cracking in the paint, and then that's useless too. So I will put it in the oven. I'll bake it for another 10 minutes on 225, and then once it cools off completely, I'll put it back on the downdraft table, spray it with a clear coat, and then let that dry too. And you can use a satin or a gloss. I like the gloss because I like my tile to look shiny. I like for it to pop real well, and the gloss will cause it to pop, make your image pop. All right, with that, that's what we've done. What we've done today, we've gone over how to prep the tile. We've gone over placement of the tile in the laser. We've gone over where you need to get the script and what software that you're going to need. I want to say a special thank you to Sean Murray for producing the script and making it available online to purchase, to make the photo tile process a little bit easier. Make sure you check out his website, look at all the things that he's got for sale. What you're going to want to be most interested in are his scripts. He's got scripts for just about every photo or rendering software that is out there. There's one for Photoshop. There's one obviously for GIMP. We just use GIMP. There's one for Paint Shop Pro, and there's one for Adobe Photoshop, and they're all really good. They all have their highlights, and they're really good scripts. So if you want to join our Facebook page that for beginners, it is Laser Life for Dummies on Facebook, and Sean's web page or Facebook page is The Original Dude with a Laser. Make sure you go check both of those pages out, especially the Laser Life for Dummies. And with all that being said, I'm Ron, and you have a great day. Happy engraving.